comes through faith to everyone who believes in Jesus Christ. To the Galatians 2:16-17, he declares that what makes a man righteous is not obedience to the law, but faith in Jesus Christ. It is clear that Paul is familiar with the metaphors, the figures of speech, the turns of phrase, the rhetoric used by the Qumran community in their interpretation of Old Testament texts. As we shall see, however, he presses this familiarity to the service of a very different purpose. In the above quote from his letter to the Galatians, Paul ascribes no inordinate significance to the law in the Qumran text. However, the law is a paramount importance. The community rule begins, "The master shall teach the saints to live according to the book of the community rule, that they may seek God and do what is good, and right before him, as he commanded by the head of Moses and all his servants the prophets." Later, the community rule states that anyone who transgresses one word of the law of Moses on any point, whatever shall be expelled, and that the law will endure for as long as the domain of Satan endures. In his rigorous adherence to the law, Jesus, strikingly enough, is much closer to the Qumran text than he is to Paul. In the Sermon on the Mount, Matt 5:17-19, Jesus makes his position unequivocally clear, a position that Paul was subsequently to betray. "Do not imagine that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to complete them. I tell you solemnly, not one dot, not one little stroke shall disappear from the law until its purpose is achieved. Therefore, the man who infringes even one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be considered the least in the kingdom of heaven." If Jesus' adherence to the law concurs with that of the Qumran community, so too does his timing of the Last Supper. For centuries, biblical commentators have been confused by apparently conflicting accounts in the Gospels. In Matthew 26:17-19, the Last Supper is depicted as a Passover meal, and Jesus is crucified the next day. In the fourth Gospel, 13:1 and 18:28, however, it is said to occur before the Passover. Some scholars have sought to reconcile the contradiction by acknowledging the Last Supper as indeed a Passover feast, but a Passover feast conducted in accordance with a different calendar. The Qumran community used precisely such a calendar, a solar calendar, in contrast to the lunar calendar used by the priesthood of the temple. In each calendar, the Passover fell on a different date, and Jesus, it is clear, was using the same calendar as that of the Qumran community.